I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Susquehanna Township Board of Commissioners. I would note for the record that all members of the Board of Commissioners are here. We will have a Pledge of Allegiance led by the Weeblos that are here visiting us tonight. So if you would all rise and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll be followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I misspoke a bit. We do have a commissioner under the weather, and that's First Ward Commissioner Joda Rabarchak, hoping for a speedy recovery from the flu for her. We're going to move up the agenda a little bit in the interest of time and ask Commissioner Mona Johnson to present on behalf of the board a proclamation 18P01 to First Zion Baptist Church of Edgemont. If the folks from the church can please come forward to the podium and join Commissioner Johnson, we'd appreciate that.
Yeah, we haven't got this figured out yet, because there's the camera there, commissioner's there. Okay. Sorry we haven't got back to you guys. First, just do you mind if I introduce the Reverend Harris from First Zion Baptist Church in Stillman? Okay. Okay, proclamation number 18P01. Whereas the First Zion Baptist Church of Edgemont, here in First Zion Baptist, was established by a group of Edgemont residents and has been an integral part of the Edgemont community and the larger Susquehanna Township community since 1918. And whereas First Zion Baptist, affiliated with the Second National Concocted Primitive Baptist Association of Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and West Virginia, under the leadership of its first pastor, Reverend Leland Haynes, and whereas for the past 100 years, the mission and activities of First Zion Baptist has been sustained by its committed and dedicated membership, cementing First Zion Baptist as a cornerstone of Susquehanna Township's community of faith. And whereas, while it has undergone and experienced many changes over the past 100 years, the mission of First Zion Baptist has remained consistent, and its commitment to its guiding principles is currently as strong as ever. And whereas, under the current leadership of Reverend Dr. Frank E. Harris Allen, First Zion Baptist has become a model of faith in our community, as evident by its monthly community outreach programs. And whereas First Zion Baptist is celebrating its 100th anniversary in 2018, now therefore, we, the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Susquehanna, do designate Sunday, January 21st, 2018, to be observed as First Zion Baptist Church Day. Signed and presented this 11th day of January, Commissioner Mona Johnson, Vice President. Congratulations.
That is quite an accomplishment. Reverend, if you'd like to say something, please.
On behalf of First Zion Baptist Church and pastor and also president of the Greater Harrisburg NAACP, we certainly thank you for the opportunity not only to serve the community, but thankful to Susquehanna Board for the presentation tonight. And may all of us work together, live long, and be prosperous. Amen?
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
And we have another, keeping Commissioner Johnson busy tonight. We have another proclamation, which is 18P-02, which commemorates the 75th anniversary of the sinking of the troop transport ship USS Dorchester. Can folks representative of this organization please step forward? Yes, sir.
We'll stand stand over here so we can face the camera. Whereas February 4th, 2018 will mark the 75th anniversary of the sinking of the troop transport ship USAT Dorchester, which carried to their deaths 4 U.S. Army chaplains of 3 faiths who stood united in prayer as the ship went down. And whereas these 4 chaplains, Roman Catholic, Jewish, Methodist, and Dutch Reform, gave their own life jackets to 4 soldiers and thus sacrificed their own lives to save the lives of others. And whereas the heroic deeds of chaplains Lieutenant George L. Fox, Lieutenant Alexander Good, Lieutenant Johnny P. Washington, and Lieutenant Clark V. Poling, and their combined act of supreme devotion and sacrifice for American liberty and human freedom will be an inspiring and ever-shining example of real brotherhood for all time to the people of the world. And whereas we must all see to it that their supreme sacrifice to the common cause of human freedom and justice for all shall not have been in vain. Now therefore, we, the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Susquehanna, do hereby designate Sunday, February 4th, 2018, to be observed as 4 Chaplains Sunday, and the week of February 5th, 2018, be observed as Religious Emphasis Week, and call upon all our citizens to commemorate the day and week with appropriate observance in public places and by prayers in their homes and house of worship. Signed and presented this 11th day of January 2018, Mona Johnson, Vice President, Susquehanna Township Board of Commissioners. Congrats.
Amen. Thank you. Yes. I want to thank the Susquehanna Township Commissioners for supporting this very important event in the lives of our fellow servicemen that gave their life, the ultimate sacrifice for their country to save so many others. The total they saved was over 275 sailors on that ship, and as that ship went down. And I want to thank you guys very much for supporting this and doing this for our post. This is the 2nd year, and Mona Johnson, Vice President, she came last year. Hopefully she can come this year. I will leave this time information on that event when it's going to be held at our post, and you're surely invited, and we'll love to see you there.
That way maybe Mona can bring some company with her this year.
Yes. Last time I didn't have those, so this time I brought it in writing.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
so
sir.
much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And it's come to our attention, we have some Cub Scouts in the house. We have Weeblo's Cub Scout Pack 77. I noticed the two leaders. Can you come to the podium and explain what you're doing in the house?
First off, I'd like to thank Sean Sanderson, the commissioner that invited us here. We appreciate that invitation. We are here to fulfill a requirement for the Cub Scouts, and I'd like to just have the Cub Scouts in the audience. Please rise, Scouts. We have one of the larger dens at Pack 77 that meets at Tree of Life Lutheran Church. The pack is about 40-some students from the Susquehanna Township School District. This is the oldest den in the pack, and they are fulfilling their requirement tonight to be exposed to the township community affairs. And the leaders, Bob Ziegler and Chris Becker, are here as well tonight. And Bob, why don't you give us the lay down why we're here tonight?
So there's a bunch of requirements that the Cub Scouts must do this year to get their Aero Light, basically graduate from Cub Scouts. And one of them is to learn how the community works and do things like you good folks are doing here, where you come and participate with the community and help make things happen. And this is very new to them. For instance, like one Cub Scout said to me, "There's a vice president here." And I said, "Well, there's different vice presidents." So, you know, it's really good for us. It allows them to move on and get what's called the Aero of Light. Has anyone ever here been in scouting? Okay, so then you know what it's about. And this is their last year at Cub Scouts, and they're moving on to Boy Scouts next year. And we want to thank you all for helping us with this.
Yes, appreciate the township to have us here tonight. We won't be staying for the full meeting. Obviously, you have a full agenda, but the boys are exposed here again to lay down the issues tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your support.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, guys.
As somebody who was a Cub Scout and went through the Webelos and made it past tenderfoot to actually first class in the Boy Scouts, want to congratulate you and keep at it. It's a great pursuit, great way to develop into young adults. And I know Commissioner Sanderson was also in Scouts, and I think Commissioner Fleming as well. And Commissioner Sanderson's father actually became a Life Scout,
Eagle Scout.
Eagle Scout. So
I'm an Eagle Scout.
Eagle Scout, congratulations. So look up to your leaders here and continue with your journey in life, and really appreciate your coming. And you don't get a merit badge, but you do have our appreciation. So thanks, guys. Okay. I will note that the board did meet in executive session prior to this meeting to discuss matters permitted under law, including litigation, real estate, and personnel. Thanks, guys. All right, moving on to petitions, complaints, suggestions from citizens. This is time for public comment. Does anybody wish to comment? Yes, sir. Please come to the microphone and identify yourself and say what's on your mind.
Good evening.
Good
President, Vice President, Commissioners. My name's Tom Ward. I submitted my resume to serve on the Susquehanna Township Sewer Authority. I'm very interested in doing that. I want to give back to my community. I think I'm qualified to do that with my experience as a mayor in Ohio for 10 years and my experience in state and local government and my experience in regulating Pennsylvania wind call. So I have some extensive work in that area. So I would like to just consider having me on the board. If anybody has any questions or concerns, I'd be more than glad to address them.
Great. Anybody have any questions of Mr. Ward? Okay.
You were the director of One Call for a period of time?
No, I was the director of the Bureau of PennSafe, and we regulated Pennsylvania wind call.
Okay.
I regulated the mining industry in Pennsylvania too for several years. And then I was in DEP. Then I went to labor and industry and I regulated PennSafe, which worked with all industry. And I used to sit on the board of Pennsylvania wind call too.
Commissioners, I had the extreme pleasure of working with Mr. Ward in the Department of Labor and Industry, and I have many questions. No, but
Here we go.
no, honestly, I say this over and over. We are so blessed in this township to have the talented individuals that we have who are willing to serve on these volunteer boards. And the Sewer Authority Board is one of the most critical. And so I think I certainly, Tom, look forward to your service. I'm glad you're volunteering to serve and stepping forward. And again, we couldn't be more fortunate in this township to have the talented individuals we do. So,
Well, thank you. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, as most students know, but I left when I was around 18, and we moved to Ohio. But I came back in 1988 to Harrisburg, and been here ever since, and have enjoyed it. And I think it's a wonderful community. That's why I moved here. And it's been good to me. It's been good to my kids. And they had a great education here at Susquehanna Township. They all went to college. So you can't ask for more than that.
Yep. Good.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for your interest, Tom.
Thank you.
Mr. President, if a motion would need to be called, could it be called right now for this?
Certainly could be, sure.
Okay. I make a motion to appoint Tom Ward to serve on the Susquehanna Township Sewer Authority.
It's been moved and seconded by a jump ball there, so it's up to you. Flip a coin. Any comments?
Welcome aboard.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now welcome aboard. Thanks, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Any other members of the public wish to address the board tonight? Okay. Hearing none. Moving on to the rest of our agenda, approval of the minutes from December 14th, regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Oh, second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Reports of committees, buildings and grounds. Commissioner Albright.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Buildings and Ground Committee has not had a meeting since our last commissioners' meeting. However, we have received a draft estimate for the cost of the proposed renovations to the building here. And the total for that estimate is $6,479,220.
That's all? No.
Which was a little shocking to me, but we are going to be meeting with them next week, I believe, and we'll be able to discuss that a little further. I just wanted to let you know sort of where the ballpark is right at the moment.
That's for renovations, or
It's for,
tearing down the building?
it's for renovations.
Renovations and
It's a renovation and there's an addition component as
We
well.
went over that. I think we reviewed the plans with all of you
At a workshop.
at a workshop meeting.
Yeah, I think I recall, I guess maybe the,
Sticker shock.
yeah.
Yeah.
sticker
Yeah, a
shock,
little bit.
Yeah, brain freeze, something.
We had that too.
Yeah. Reaction as well. But anyway, that's the only new development in building and grounds, and we're going to be meeting with them next week and carrying it a little further, so I'll have more to report.
Great. Thanks, Commissioner.
And I'm sorry, just to set everyone's mind at ease, because I saw some eyebrows go up. I mean, this is a long road. That's not under consideration. It's nothing that's imminent. This is the first step in a process. So just so everybody knows, and we can put you at ease.
So my eyebrows from over there too?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That was over me hiccuping.
Say what? Oh, that's what it was. Say what? All right, thanks for that report. Budget and Finance, Commissioner Sanderson.
Thank you. We had a successful year last year. We have not yet scheduled any meetings, but near the end of last year, we had a very broad discussion amongst the board and staff, and we do have some long-term projects, none of which are available to present in any detail, but we'll start putting our meetings together and coming back to you in various. Well, we have meetings twice a month, so we'll be talking about this year's budget very soon. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Public Works, Commissioner Napper.
Yes, Mr. President. The Public Works Department report for the month of December. The Public Works Department performed limited sign work this month by replacing damaged traffic control signs throughout the township. Maintenance was performed on the township trucks and equipment, including salt spreaders for emergency winter weather. The leaf collection season is over. The Public Works Department has completed all leaf collection in leaf management areas 1 through 4 as of Friday, December 29th, which brings me to the ice and snow removal mode. Mr. President, the Highway Department maintains more than 100 miles of township roadways and alleyways. Our snow removal process begins with major routes, then residential streets, cul-de-sacs, and then alleyways. The clearing of the snow from around the mailbox is the responsibility of the homeowner. And this ends my report, Mr. President.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pine.
Mr. President, I just want to say thank you as our Highway Department Director sitting with us. Thank you for the good job with the leaf removal and extending the period of the leaf removal. Due to the way the leaves fell this year, we really needed to do that, and you did that, and it worked out well, at least in my ward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Health and Sanitation, Commissioner Barczyk's not here. Commissioner Sanderson,
No report. Thank you.
anything on the staff front on Health and Sanitation?
Nothing at this point, Mr. President.
All right,
I just might want to mention that the Christmas tree pickup is this Saturday and the following
The
Saturday.
13th and the 20th.
13th and the 20th.
Okay, that's a good point. Good point. Thank you. Admin Personnel, Commissioner Napper.
Yes, Commissioners, the admin personnel provided to the board a spreadsheet noting the employee wages for 2018 for their review and approval. The wages are consistent with those incorporated into the approval of 2018 budget. As a result of not reaching a new collection bargaining agreement with ASME, wages for ASME highway employees have been frozen at 2017 level. Please note the wages may be increased during the course of the year, consistent with the applicable collection bargaining agreement, without further approval of the action of the Board of Commissioners. I would like to make a move at this time, Mr. President, to approve the 2018 employee wages effective January 1st, 2018, as noted in the report received from the Admin and Personnel Committee.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any comments?
Yeah, I do. I do, Mr. President. So are we saying that, I guess once we agree, once the collective a bargaining agreement is approved, then we won't see what the increase will be? Or
No,
it's just going
no,
to be
you will.
automatic?
I
or
can clarify that, Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Napper. What it was meaning is really relating to progression that occurs in the collective bargaining agreement. So, for example, there's steps and grades that as people reach certain levels of longevity with the township, they would naturally go from they may be at one point in January 2001, they will be at a different point perhaps sometime later in the year. Again, with the understanding that you guys are approving those collective bargaining agreements. So we weren't really talking specifically about the AFSCME contract, because that AFSCME contract ultimately will have to come back to this body for its approval and its acceptance of that. But for the pre-existing bargaining agreements, for example, the police department's bargaining agreement, where there's progression based on years of service, those wages have already been established. What we're providing to you is a snapshot as of January 1st, 2018, with the caveat that again, you've already agreed to the progression that are provided within the bargaining agreements. I mean, obviously, all of this information at any point is available to any member of the Board of Commissioners. So if there's a specific question relative to a specific employee or group of employees, that can be provided.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up for me.
So, did we take a vote on that?
No.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else, Commissioner?
No, that ends my report, sir.
Very good.
Thank you.
Police, Commissioner Engel.
No report.
Thank you. Fire and EMS, Commissioner Fleming.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to pass along that our Fire Marshal, George Drees, informed us, sent an email to the board members, that during the week between Christmas and New Year's Day, there was township fire crews responded to incidents nearly every night between that week. And if you'll remember, this is when, even though it's more mild out now, that's really when the really cold weather started to hit us, the polar vortex, as it were. And so I just want to say on behalf of our residents, again, thank you to our volunteer fire service, our EMS, our police, for your professional, timely response to all of these incidents, and also to their families. I want to thank their families because their families sacrifice, especially when you talk about being away for the holiday between Christmas and New Year's. You know, that's time I think that most of us cherish with our families, and they volunteers and our professional staff alike go out at a moment's notice. It goes for the highway department as well when there's snowfall and ice storms and everything. So we really appreciate their effort, and just wanted to pass that along. So that concludes my report.
Well put, Commissioner. Thank you. Recreation, Commissioner Johnson.
No report.
Thank you. Planning and Zoning, Commissioner Rothrock.
We have not had a meeting. We're meeting again next week again, I believe. I have no report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to bids and agreements. Enterprise Fleet Management. This seeks authorization to execute agreements for the leasing of 3 pickup trucks. Anything you want to add to that, Mr. Kratzer?
No, just that the action is consistent with the approved 2018 budget. The respective monthly lease payments were reflected in that budget document that you approved.
Okay. Do I have a motion on that request?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
I actually do. Mr. Manager, are we
dispensing of existing trucks as part of this? Can you explain?
We will be, yes. These are 3 replacement vehicles, there is some periods of lag in terms of placing the order and receiving the vehicle. So, as I think I indicated in my email, we will be back before you to seek authorization to dispose of the excess vehicles. This isn't in addition to the fleet, it's just replacement of the fleet.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries. Number 2, Susquehanna Township Comprehensive Plan, which seeks authorization to execute a grant agreement between the township and the Tri-County Regional Planning Commission. Mr. Kratzer, you want to flesh this out, please?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So if the board remembers, we were fortunate to receive funding through Tri-County Regional Planning Commission's grant program for purposes of updating the Susquehanna Township Comprehensive Plan. We'll receive $40,000 of funding from Tri-County through this program. Again, as the President had noted, we're seeking authorization to execute the form letter grant agreement between the Township and Tri-County for purposes of receipt of those funds.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I would just note, relative to that issue, we are expecting, we did apply for another grant through the Department of Community and Economic Development called the Municipal Assistance Program Grant. And we're anticipating that there will be some decision on that within the month, so we'll report back on that as well.
Thank you. Okay, ordinances, resolutions, subdivisions, land development plans. Number 1, Ordinance 1801, which would establish standards, regulations, and districts in which uses permitted under the Medical Marijuana Act are permitted. We had a hearing about this before this meeting, and board would entertain a motion unless it wishes more of an explanation from staff.
I'll make that motion, Mr. President.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Yeah, the Schubert plan. Ordinance 1802, amending section 2008 of the zoning ordinance to add new use regulations for multiple family dwellings. This also was the subject of a hearing prior to tonight's 7:30 meeting.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 1803, an ordinance prohibiting parking on both sides of North 32nd Street from Walnut to Schwartz Streets.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Resolution 18R02, reaffirming the township's renewal of the emergency operations plan of Dauphin County.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comment?
What is the
Just-
plan, or where's this? Yeah.
So this is reaffirming, this is adopting the county emergency operations plan for each municipality is required to have a plan. The only thing, and I didn't want to do this publicly, but I forgot, there's a slight typo. That's
Yeah,
the only
and
thing.
a number of the typos have already been
Okay, all
replaced
right,
in
thank you.
the actual signature.
Thank you, okay.
Signature resolution.
But yeah, it's just, so we have an emergency operations plan on file. Every 2 years, I believe it's required.
Correct.
And Brad Reist has been our emergency management coordinator for a number of years. His judgment on this is, he's basically saying we comply with everything in the EOP, and so.
Mr. President, if I might, I just had a question related to, does this plan at all address TMI, or at least the township's response or lack of response to TMI? The reason I ask that is the 5th Ward, my ward, is the only one that actually falls within 10
In the
miles.
EPZ, yeah.
And what's strange about it is that we typically are kind of in that situation where I don't think the township is really included in the TMI evacuation plan.
Right.
However, at least from a technical perspective, part of our township is within 10 miles. And it's something that I've always kind of wondered about, and I wonder if we can inquire about. Or,
Yeah, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here. I think that's something to discuss with Brad.
Right.
And he'd be pretty familiar with the evacuation procedures and things like that. But yeah, I remember this issue coming up several years ago. I mean, we're not.
I think
we aren't
Commissioner
required.
Napper had raised
Yeah,
this issue
right.
not too long
Yeah.
ago in an email. And I think there was some sort of opt-in kind of provision, and perhaps the township at that time did not opt into whatever planning exercise was being done.
It would be worth exploring.
But we could
Absolutely.
absolutely look into it.
Thank you.
Did we vote on that? I know it's been moved and seconded. Right. Barring any other comment, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Mr. Rohr,
Good evening.
how you doing?
In the 8th Ward, Far Green Road is a final subdivision plan for the purpose of re-subdividing 5 existing lots into 4 proposed lots to eliminate existing zoning nonconformities to the greatest extent possible. There will be no construction or improvements proposed with the plan. The lots are located in the R1 zoning district on the east side of Far Green Road, south of Lakeside Drive. The plan was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission, contingent on one waiver, and that is to waive the preliminary plan requirement.
Move to waive the preliminary plan requirement.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Planning Commission.
Requirement is waived. Sorry, go ahead.
The Planning Commission attached 2 conditions to the plan. Number 1, provide an executed shared driveway agreement setting forth at minimum maintenance requirements, snow removal obligations, decision marking for the driveway and funding, and allowing future access to all 4 proposed lots via the existing shared access drive. Deeds for each of the 4 lots shall reference the agreement and approved subdivision plan. Comment number 2, addressing all comments provided in the Township Staff Report dated November 27th, 2017, and updated January 5th, 2018.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Okay, there's a motion and a second to adopt the plan with those 2 conditions. Do we have any questions or comments on this?
Is there a time in which, if they wanted to develop that, they would have to come with a brand-new
Correct.
land development plan, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so this is just to clean up some boundary
Some
issues.
Very
and-
messy lots, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments?
The Planning Commission recommended approval, even though it doesn't quite meet all the zoning requirements. It's sort of as close as you're going to get, given the circumstances.
There are lots there currently with no access, so this at least gives them an access to Far Green Road.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
There are 3 reduction requests tonight. The township engineer reviewed them all and recommended approval. The
Driving
first
away,
is-
Mike. Don't take it personally.
The first is Sunflower Fields.
Thank you all.
It's a reduction, site improvement guarantee for, from $33,105.60 down to 0.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any comment? All in
Well,
favor?
I know,
Oh,
I
go
have a
ahead.
question.
Hold on.
I have a
Yep.
question. I'm wondering, because last month, we did a, we did a reduction. Did they do more work? Is that
They
within a
have,
month?
yes.
They have, so they've
Continually do
completed
more
everything they
work.
needed to do?
Yes.
The reduction last month was based on the work that was completed for the previous period. Then they came in and based on the status of the work, basically it's finished. So as customary, we go out and make an inspection, verify that the work was done in accordance with the approved plan, and recommend to the board that it be reduced to 0. So what you're acting on tonight is the reduction from the $33,105 to 0.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I know, I know we do this every month. We did it last month, and, okay.
Good question.
Got to give their money back.
We gotta give it back?
Gotta
Okay.
give it
Gotta give it back. Saying, please release me, let me go.
That sounds interesting.
Go for it.
Make a song out of
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
The second is Sturbridge Phase 2. It's a request going down from $25,547.50 to $12,485.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
The last is a maintenance guarantee at Estates at Margaret's Grove Phase 1, and that is a reduction from $86,180 down to $30,000.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I know what a site improvement guarantee is. What's a maintenance guarantee?
Basically, it's finished, but we have to still re-inspect. There's some issues out there. We hold a bond after the fact for 18 months. But that's still, we have to extend that because.
Particularly related to roadways.
Yeah. It's the
Okay,
road.
so-
It's
The
the road.
it's following the acceptance of dedication of a roadway.
Okay, okay.
They need to
So
clean
there's
that
some
up before
additional
we can
work that
dedicate
needs to
the
be,
road.
construction work that needs to be done.
The road has been accepted, and under the municipality's planning code, there is a requirement that the developer post a maintenance improvement guarantee or maintenance bond. for a
Oh, in
period of
case they're
18
not up
months.
to snuff.
But in this particular situation, we wanted to extend the life of that maintenance bond to make sure that the township's interests are covered, having accepted the road.
Okay, okay.
So
Just in
it's-
case something comes back
That's-
in that time
that's correct.
period and it's not where it needs to be from a construction standpoint. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, isn't that not due to the fact that there was something that was not inspected
There
as it was
was,
supposed to
there
be
was a
done?
section of the road that the developer did not request an inspection on, and the site contractor basically did the construction without having the road inspected, and that's the reason for the improvement guarantee or the maintenance guarantee extension that we're recommending.
Right, okay. So it's a due diligence issue.
Due diligence.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Unfinished business. Do we have any?
There is nothing, Mr. President.
Reports.
800 LEDs.
Yeah, beyond
There we go.
the revision of the report reflects the issue that I think Commissioner Sanderson had raised relative to the request.
800 more to go.
to,
Yeah. So now that we're on camera, just to say, we have 1,400 streetlights and other various lights in the township, and for the last 10 years, PPL has assiduously refused to convert them to LEDs. And just last month, Mr. Kratzer and staff, thank you very much, figured out how to make the request to PPL to convert approximately 800 old technology streetlights to new technology streetlights using LEDs. And it's not a major cost driver of the township, but it is a very large step forward in terms of modernization and keeping up with the Joneses. So now we have 800 new, or will have 800 new streetlights in the near future.
Well, the point is, too, as well, that there is somewhat of a savings, even though it's not monstrous.
Yes.
But it's a good step in the green direction, in terms of energy consumption.
It's also actually better light. It's going to be easier to see.
Right.
So you won't have that odd orange halo-ish effect. It'll be clearer. You'll be able to see colors of cars. That it'll be easier just to see for pedestrians and motorists. It's a really cool thing.
We have any idea where they'll be installed first? And I don't want to put you on the spot.
No,
You get to say
I
not
mean,
at this time.
there was again, the way the program is, you have to essentially isolate those that are beyond the 10-year period. So it's kind of all over the place, to be honest
Okay.
with you, Mr.
But the concentration, I believe, is south of 81?
Primarily south of 81 is the concentration, just recognizing the age of the development in that area.
Right.
And again, their period of kind of amortizing the original investment is not there, so, or has concluded there, so it enables us to do that at no cost.
All right.
Is the capital cost of that higher than a standard light or the old technology? I know there's savings, in energy consumption, but I was just curious as to the outlay.
I would guess yes, just in terms of the bulb. And, yeah, I mean.
But that's PP&L.
For our homes, LED lights cost more than a
Right, I
standard.
mean, that's PPL's obligations. Again, they have certain obligations, obviously, under the Alternative Energy Standards Act, in which they're governed, in which so much of their energy needs to be produced by, either alternative means or newer, kind of more energy-efficient technologies. So they're essentially making an investment, if you will, of some of those dollars to, cover the capital cost associated with these conversions. But again, none of that cost is borne by us, and that's the significance of the 10-year time frame that Commissioner Sanderson had referenced.
All right, under reports, Mr. Kratzer, do you have anything?
We
See
just
Chief
have
in the wings.
a number of traffic studies that, if I could ask the Public Safety Director to come up, he'll present.
Commissioners, I have two. First one is traffic study for Wilhelm Road and Harwood Road. This was actually a reissuance and a reevaluation, and this addition recommends, and I concur with this recommendation, to have a stop sign placed on Harwood for eastbound traffic at Wilhelm. And again, this is where the new Circle School is, and there's not a stop sign for northbound traffic on Wilhelm, and there's not a stop sign for any traffic on Harwood, and it's a bit blind there, and I think we have to stop that traffic to avoid something bad happening. So I do recommend that, and there's also a suggestion to place a sharp curve ahead sign, and I recommend that as well. But the stop sign would certainly need an ordinance.
Mr. President.
Yes.
First of all, I want to say thank you, Chief, for the traffic study and the recommendation. I support the recommendation. I do have a question, though, and that is whether we might, down the line, consider a right turn, keep moving for Harwood. What happens there is before Ecumenical Center was there and before the Circle School was there, it was basically Harwood and Wilhelm were like one road that just took a right turn. And the traffic has flowed that way for many years. Now, when those two, Ecumenical quite a while ago, but Circle School just within the last year, came in, it did complicate the intersection now, making it kind of a true intersection because some cars go from Harwood straight into Circle School, and then you've got some Wilhelm Road traffic that goes northbound, as Chief's saying, into Ecumenical, and it creates the question of right-of-way. So I think the stop sign's very appropriate on Harwood as people turn right, or whatever people do. They go straight into Circle School, they turn left into Ecumenical. But for traffic that is at Harwood and turning right onto Wilhelm, I don't request this immediately, but I just wonder if we might consider that down the road, that maybe we want to add a right turn, keep moving option there, just for traffic there.
I understand, and I think we get this in there and give it time to be absorbed and monitor and maybe take a look. Absolutely, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I would make a motion that we accept that recommendation for the stop sign.
Second.
Perhaps the board would want to make a motion with regard to the stop sign to authorize a advertising, noticing, and drafting of the ordinance for your next meeting.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The second study, speed cushion study for Crooked Hill Road and Continental Drive. This is a study that I think is essentially 10 years in the making. There was actually two previous studies that put some of this off, and knowing the continuing development back there and the impact on traffic, and I think that it's arrived. So the recommendation is for four speed cushions on the range from Crooked Hill Road to Continental Drive, one at Continental west of Parkview, one at Continental east of Newton, one in front of 2212 Continental, and one in 4612 Crooked Hill, because it starts at Crooked Hill back here, and then goes way along and turns into Continental. Certainly that area has seen a large increase in traffic, as well as there are a lot of children back there, a lot of bus stops and such. So it certainly has my recommendation for placement, and that placement wouldn't certainly occur till sometime after winter.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments, questions?
I just want to thank the chief for taking a look at that. I had asked him to do that. Some of my constituents have been complaining about the speed of traffic through there. It is a shot that's 1.1 miles with no stop signs or any other interruption. And I did take a look at the placement of these as near as I could figure them out. I think it's appropriate, so.
Good.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Good. And Commissioner Johnson, your study is in the hands of HRG right now,
Okay, thank you.
so it's ongoing.
Mr.
Okay, my
President.
neighbor just left, the gentleman who
I talked to
requested
him.
it. Yeah, you did?
I did,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
It's good.
Mr. Klein?
Yeah, Mr. President, I have a couple of things. First of all, thank you, Chief. You know, I've have residents on Crooked Hill who, they're out there in the summer. They're out there in the summer and, they just see the traffic fly by.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate that. I think the speed cushions are a good recommendation. Did you have any thought on the recommendation to add a fifth, Lieutenant Donier's note?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not.
Okay, so she recommended, I think maybe 100 feet from the stop sign at Rock Fall and Crooked Hill. But also, if we're going to take this step for these traffic control devices, please let's consider a four-way stop at Crooked Hill and Continental. Again, that's where all the where Crooked Hill turns into Continental,
Okay.
right at Deer Path Road.
Deer Path, okay.
Again, many bus stops converge there, so 9 months out of the year, that's heavily used in the morning, in the afternoon. So if we're going to take this step, I appreciate the speed cushions, but again, I would love some due consideration to a four-way stop there, just to calm it even further and really slow it down there.
Okay.
I noticed that in the study, it stated that there was a four-way stop there, which there is not.
No, right, there is not.
And one of the speed humps is very shortly before, it's like the middle of the block or the tail end of the block, right where that stop sign would go.
Yeah.
It seemed to me that, it's sort of an either or. If you put the stop sign there, you really shouldn't need a speed hump that's, 50 feet in front of it.
But and if I had a recommendation, I would say let's get rid of that speed hump and put a four-way stop there.
And then put it on Wilhelm Road.
Yeah. That'll calm traffic even further, so.
Okay, and we have time because we're in the heart of winter here, so to kind of reevaluate that particular area with that particular speed cushion. I'll make that happen.
Thank you so much, Chief, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
There's a motion on the floor, I believe.
I think you're right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Anything
you,
else,
sir.
Chief? Thank you.
And I'll speak directly with Mr. Reist, reference the TMI inject into the plan.
Thank you.
I know that about a week or so ago, I did forward an email about sirens.
Yes, yes, sir.
So we do get notices, and when I get them, I certainly forward them on, but I will have a talk with Brad, and I'll forward that on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Mr. Spriggs, anything from Public Works tonight? All right, thank you.
So real quick.
Yep, come on up.
I would like to go on record and thank the commissioners and township managers for the approval of the bucket truck that was just purchased. I know that was Commissioner Engel approached me about securing the bucket truck. We do have that now, and I want to thank everybody for that. So that's just want to say that.
And your first use of it's in the fourth ward, I believe, right?
For fourth or first, actually, but it will be used throughout the township. So at some point I'll come back before the board and I'll meet with the township manager in reference to sending out paperwork to actually start trimming trees. Let's send our street cleaning routes. So I know that's a big issue with residents, and you're going to get the call. So
right.
That's something that needs to be done because we're not cleaning to the street in every area, and that's something we need to start doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just for some additional information, that vehicle was a used piece of apparatus that was able to be accommodated within the 17 budget. So was a good investment, but not a tremendously significant monetary investment.
Sure.
Excellent.
One other thing, we're currently looking to transition the Public Works, one of the Public Works garages into a inspection center so we can inspect our vehicles in-house. Hopefully that'll save the township some money as well.
Great.
So we're working on that. Okay, thank you.
And who would do the inspection?
Bill Goff, our mechanic, but he is now, he's currently in class as we speak.
Is out to get certified?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That's correct.
wonderful.
That's correct. Yep.
That's great.
So thank you. Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nate.
Maybe we can become a certified inspection station and turn that into a revenue generator. Hey, it's a thought.
Emissions.
It's a day.
Would that include emissions, by the way?
That would not include, that does not, no.
Yeah,
So,
that's
dang.
a lot of
it's a
drive.
significant capital investment, obviously, for the emissions, but from a
Trying to get us in trouble.
Hey,
Not a revenue
hey,
generator
thinking outside the
from
box.
cost
Gotta-
avoidance perspective.
gotta come up
we
with
can
these
we can do
ideas.
more in-house with Bill's capabilities.
HR person.
That's right.
To stop me.
All right. Mr. Solicitor, do you have anything? Yes.
Mr. President, we've received an application for an intermunicipal liquor license transfer for an eating license for Dwayne Manning Stores at 4361 North Front Street. That's the Unimart at Front and Lingelstown Road. Under the law, we have 45 days to respond, so we're asking that you schedule both a public hearing and voting on the resolution with regard to that intermunicipal liquor license transfer for your workshop session on the 25th at 6:30. I appreciate if the board will authorize that.
So
our
moved.
meeting, our meeting's at 6:30.
Meeting's at 6:30, and you have another engagement
You're
before that, so what we would do is have the public hearing scheduled at 6:30, which is the time you traditionally begin your meeting.
Right.
Begin your meeting with
And
public
just roll
hearing.
into it.
Traditionally, those intermunicipal liquor license transfer hearings only last maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. All right, so it's been moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. She beat you. All those in favor?
I think I
Opposed?
moved into.
Motion carries.
That's the same day as
We
the
will
workshop.
advertise that for you and have it ready for your agenda for the 25th.
Great.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the same day as our workshop, correct?
It is.
Yeah, okay,
All
It'll
right.
be at the same time as your workshop.
okay, very good.
Mr. Fleming, anything on the school board front?
I do, very briefly, Mr. President. I just want to thank the district. 4.5 years ago, the Susquehanna Township School District was in crisis, quite frankly. Poor leadership and a lack of community engagement resulted in low morale among students, faculty, and staff. Long-tenured teachers and students began to flee the district. After some time in transition, under the leadership first of Dr. Todd Klein and currently Dr. Tamara Willis, our school district is once again engaging with its residents. In the summer, the school district held a focus group with district parents who cited school discipline as one of their chief concerns. And I'm happy to report that today I was able to attend something called a Hope Team meeting to begin to identify root causes and solutions to the discipline issues in the school district. And, I'm humbled to take part in this initiative, and I'm heartened to see the excellent leadership that has once again taken hold at Susquehanna Township School District. As a parent, taxpayer, and elected official, I support the district's efforts to build a student body which is world-class every day in every way. And it's just, the leadership team there now is just such a departure from what we were dealing with before, and I couldn't be happier, like I say, as a parent, as a taxpayer. We are really on the right track. It's gonna continue to take some time, but academics, it doesn't get turned around overnight, but they're really on a good course in terms of re-engaging with the taxpayers, with the residents, with the parents, and we're going to be just fine as long as this current leadership team's in place. I really do believe that. So that concludes my report.
Very good news. Thank you.
The verification that they're doing.
Yeah, the residency. So that's an excellent point, Commissioner. So they are engaging. The district is engaging in a residency re-verification, and what that means is that you basically have to prove that your student lives in the district where they are attending school. So contact the district if you have any questions. Letters went out. They are scheduling in-person meetings so people can bring, things like utility bills, tax records, things like that to prove that they in fact live in the district. And I will say just, from a humanitarian perspective, it's tough because this is the way our system's set up. It would be nice if we had the luxury of giving every child a quality education, no matter what district they lived in. But, resources right now are scarce. And, I think the school district has made the decision to prioritize those resources on children who live in the district. And I support that decision. And I think it's something, quite frankly, that needs to be done. So I think the last residency audit that they did in 2012, it was like It was 2012 because we had just moved into the district, so we had to submit like four proofs of residency right when we moved in, when Chris began kindergarten. But I think the net savings was something like $3 million, just by, finding children who did not live in the district, and because and school choice does exist. You have the option. If you live in another district, you can pay tuition. If you want to pay a premium, that's fine. Those children can stay here. But again, I support the district's decision, and so contact the district if you need to set up those meetings and do the residency re-verification. So, thanks, Commissioner.
Thanks, Commissioner. Authority, any report, Mr. Sanderson?
Thank you, no report. Looking forward to working with you, sir.
Indian Wheels or Shade Tree? Anything new on those fronts?
No report that I'm aware of.
I'm not aware of any issue on that front that needs to be reported at this point.
All right, communications?
No report.
Thank you. All right, all the other reports are posted out on the bulletin board. New business, 2001 boards and commissions, appointments, reappointments. We have a list of folks. We're going to deal with the Recreation Advisory appointments at our next meeting. But we do have a list of folks, and starting off with the Industrial and Commercial Development Authority, we have Commissioner Sanderson, who's expressed interest in reappointment, and Commissioner Rothrock, who has also expressed an interest in serving in place of Commissioner Schubert. Do we have any motions?
Does it have to be separate, or can we make one?
You can do one if there's no objection.
Mr. President, I propose that both, I move that both be appointed to those commissions.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Property Maintenance Board of Appeals, Brian Moore has indicated he's willing to resume service as a full member. Matt Bonanno indicated a willingness to resume service, continue service as an alternate. So do we have any motions along those lines?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Civil Service Commission, Chief has recommended and endorsed the appointment of Jeff Patton, who has served for many, many years and is an old pro at this.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Planning Commissioner, Mitch Kemp and Jonathan Bowser have both requested reappointment.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comment? All in favor?
I'm sorry, Mr. President,
Yes.
one quick question on that. Does DeLon Wilborn wish to be reappointed?
Yes.
He does as well, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed that one.
Okay. Yep, sorry.
No, that's mine. It's on me. Good catch.
Call.
Who did I say?
Yeah, it's not Jonathan Bowser, it's,
Yeah,
it's.
yeah, I mixed them up.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, Mitchell Kemp and DeLon Wilborn, I believe.
Yes. There you go.
So moved.
There you go. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Who are you again?
Yeah. And John Taylor, who served probably for 14 years on
Yeah.
the Planning Commission.
He's
has
good.
Indicated he wants to pack it in.
John is good.
Done. It's been a long time. So we're going to need an appointment. We reached out to Rhoda Barish, who is in the alternate. And she's indicated that she'd like to remain in the alternate position and not transition into appointment. Made some other outreach, but, failing a candidate right now, we have to leave that position open. But I would encourage all of you, keep your eyes and ears open for anybody with the interest and qualifications.
Sure. And if anybody is interested in any of these spots that may be open, contact Manager Kratzer, D. Kratzer at SusquehannaTWP.com, and send your resume and a letter of interest.
Hashtag.
Hashtag serving
too.
your community. Oh, me too.
I shouldn't have went there.
That's
I didn't
not.
hear
Too
anything.
soon.
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, that's not too soon. That's not funny.
All right, Health Board. Carol Peters, another long time serving on the board.
So moved.
Moved
Second.
and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And William Allen of the Shade Tree Commission has indicated a willingness to serve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Human Relations Commission, Steve Dorco and Jeff Champagne, two of the charter members, have asked to be reappointed
So moved.
and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And Vicki Shannon, another charter member, is busy with her other things in her life right now, I guess, and would like not to be reappointed this time. Meanwhile, Paul Wambach, recently of our authority, has indicated a strong desire to serve on the Human Relations Commission.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Paul Wambach to serve on the Human Relations Commission.
Great, thank you. And it's been seconded by Commissioner Sanderson.
Yes.
Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And Mr. Kratzer, I believe that's it.
That is it. That is correct, Mr.
Okay,
President.
so we just got to keep our eyes peeled for a planning commission member. And again, I repeat what others have said, you know, it's tireless service sometimes, but it's much appreciated. And we really do need the volunteer help and support and brain power of our residents to help us out.
I have some comments.
Uh-oh.
Oh. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mike Schubert's birthday's today, sir.
I would too, actually, just some brief thanks.
Okay, let's see. Commissioner comments?
Yeah, first thing I was
Said it
remiss.
first, yeah.
Yeah, I said I didn't have any comments for Recreation Board, so I figured I could do it at this point. I just want to take an opportunity and thank Sandy Nevius. She was on our Recreation Board. She was a member at large. She was appointed by Commissioner Schubert. Well, anyway, she's submitted her letter of resignation. She has some personal things going on. But I'd like to take this opportunity to thank her for her service. So I wanted to do that. And that's Sandy Nevius. She was, she was a committed member to the Recreation Advisory Board. So I certainly appreciate that. Also, I just wanted to take an opportunity to talk about the Fort Chaplain Sunday ceremony. This will be posted on our website, but it will be at the Pembroke American Legion Post 730 on Walnut Street, Sunday, February 4th at 9 a.m. Everyone's welcome. And like I said, I missed my Recreation Board. I missed this. I just want to say that the Recreation Department here at Susquehanna Township is now receiving applications for summer employment. Applications are available online on the township website and at our high school and the guidance office. Deadline for summer employment application is March 16th. And that concludes my comments. Yes.
I'm sorry, Commissioner. While you're under recreation, would you mention Miss Wanda Beard? She had passed away.
Yes. Yes. Please forgive me for that. Board of Commissioners just like to extend their sincere, regret or, we're, Ms. Wanda Pierce, she was a longtime member of Susquehanna Township, a longtime member of the Recreation Board, and she passed. And we just want to offer our condolences to her family, and just want to say we thank her for her service.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for reminding me of that. Yes. Yeah. And that concludes my comments.
I've said it before, but Wanda was just a wonderful person. She used to come into meetings, sit right over there, just stay for the first half hour or so like it was a movie, and then just slip out, after we got too boring. But she was always very kind and very interested in her community. The Ninth Ward was lucky to have her.
She was tough on the Ninth Ward, I tell you what.
And you know what?
She didn't
You're
miss a
better
beat.
Commissioner because of
Yes. Many phone calls and emails from Miss Beard.
So well put.
She'll be
Lois.
missed.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
If I might, just under comments, 4 quick points. One is a sincere thank you to Vicki Shannon for her service on the Human Relations Commission. She also was a charter member of that commission, and while fortunately there really wasn't a lot of need for their time because there's not been a complaint, thank God, she was standing in the ready, and I think someone who was so competent for that position. I thank her especially for her service. Also, likewise, John Taylor, who served so long on the Planning Commission. I've known John for actually more than 30 years, and he's a constituent and just a very thoughtful person, and I thank him for his service. I wanted to thank Commissioner Fleming for his remarks about the HOPE team of the school, because as he mentions, the discipline problems at our school, and there's other schools that are facing very similar problems, because I know I have a wife and daughter who both are in a bordering school district who are facing some serious problems that relate to discipline. And it's something that impacts not only, as you say, the quality of education and the taxpayer value of education, but the real estate market. And I think we all know that. You don't have to be involved with real estate to appreciate the value of your properties, going one way or another. And lastly, Mr. President, just one point I want to make is, I think we're in the area of about a year, give or take, of having our new manager in place. And I don't think there's a member of this board who would disagree with this, and that is that we couldn't be happier with the service of our new manager. And, it's interesting. I can remember the night we first interviewed him, and the former manager said to me confidentially, he said, "You're gonna like this next guy. He's good, that we're just about to interview." And he was right. I think we all felt that he was the best, and we feel that way even more now, a year later. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I got to say just one thing, just to piggyback on what he just said. It's interesting, at that meeting, I'm not going to be long, we set up interviews, and we were supposed to go second round. So we're sitting there saying, after he left, we're saying, okay, let's schedule. But we all had agreed on him. So we were like, well, what are we going to interview him again for? I mean, you just knocked it out the park. And I got to echo what he said. You know what? We have never been more happier, even though we miss Gary as well. But you've come in and you've just done an awesome job, and we appreciate it.
I appreciate that as well. So
And a little amending of my comments, just about a year, give or take a year. It's actually 2 years as the president.
Yeah, 2
pointed
years,
out to me. I mean, things went so well, it went very fast.
Time flies.
Time does fly when you're having fun. So thank you all for your support.
I've said to Dave often, when troubles would arise or tricky situations didn't occur in Penn State or Penn Township, welcome to Susquehanna Township. You never know. Any other comments before we move on in the agenda? All right.
Mr. President.
Mr. Sanderson.
I make a motion to approve the report of bills paid in the amount of $2.912704.25 million.
You notice that sticker shock as well.
That's a light
And I think Mr. Engel hiccuped again. I think if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's $3 million right there. But last year we had the smallest, wasn't it? November was the smallest.
Yeah, again, the bulk of that is the minimum municipal obligation.
Certainly, it's the time of year that we pay it. But
it is the time of year. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly $2.9 million. That's an eye opener. It's from last year, not this year. We're good. That's my motion.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Move to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are out of here.
Doing good. Get out of here.